Hello everyone and welcome back to Speaking My Music. Today we have a really special guest, Mr. Charlie Green himself, aka CG5. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Great, Eli. Thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for being on. We're just gonna get straight into the questions here and just start off real simple. Who are you? What do you do? And what's your shtick? What's your thing?
So, everybody told me that I sound like CG5.
Yes.
That's probably because I am CG5.
That is so true.
Charles Green V, I should say, is the abbreviation. I've made music based upon video games and trends and things like that, and I'm moving forward more to the mainstream side of things.
Very cool, very cool. So you've been making music for how long? How long have you been doing this?
I've been making music since I was 3 years old. I've been listening to music since I was a fetus.
Yes.
When I was 5 years old, I started producing music on the computer.
That's pretty young.
Yes, that's all I've ever really known is creating music. I've been basically doing this since 18 years now.
So you started with production, and that was like your first thing that you learned?
I started with singing and stomping my feet.
Yeah.
So I use my feet as percussion on the ground, and I stomped them really hard. I just sang songs to the beat of my own feet.
Hell yeah.
Then when I was 5, that's when I started really producing. My dad had a program called Hip Hop EJ4 on his laptop. It was the first music software I ever touched. And I remember we were on vacation in Virginia, I think. He had his laptop. I think I asked if I could play games on it or something, but he said no, but that I could like use the software, this music software. I instantly fell in love with producing and writing right then and there. That's why I'm not much of a gamer. Like I could have been, it's like a point click adventure, like choose your own adventure kind of thing when I was 5 years old. So it's like I could have played a video game or I could have opened the music software. And if I had opened the video game, then maybe I'd be a popular gamer instead of a musician. Every been is music because of that day. And I've been moving forward with hopefully getting better than I was as a producer when I was 5.
Yeah, let's hope so. What were your inspirations back then and what are they now? Like, where do you draw from? Are you listening to like new stuff that's coming out, or are you going back in time and listening to older music? Or what do you pull from when you're writing and producing?
Well, I grew up with a lot of 80s and 90s music. So mostly 80s pop. That's all I had ever known for a while, and then I moved on to listening to more newer music. I grew up with a lot of One Republic and Keen. It's a good band. I just pull a lot of inspiration from like songs that are on the charts right now. I'm really big into pop. I do not like country. I have a deep hatred for country.
Understandable.
But I really like pop because there's a reason that music is on the charts. Whether you hate it or not, there's a reason that the song Boy's a Liar by Pink Pantheress and Ice Spice is getting over 5 million streams a day right now.
Yeah. And
that's because it's a hit. Or Flowers by Miley Cyrus, or anything that is really popping right now. There's a reason for that. And we got to make good music to make it.
So music production was your first sort of entrance into making music. What was like the first instrument that you learned? Like, because I've seen you play piano before.
Well, I did go straight into singing and producing, but I also dabbled in the piano, and I played the drums for the first time when I was 7 years old. There's even a video of it on the internet somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I was good at keeping rhythm. It was my first time. It seemed like I had been playing for like 2 years at that point, but I was just like, I've always dabbled in instruments, but I've never really been a instrumentalist.
Yeah.
Like I have perfect pitch, and that really carries me into like production and mixing, so that I can like remove unnecessary frequencies and be like, oh, that's a really high B frequency. I got to get that out of the way. Like somebody gives me a song, I can play a simple version of it on the piano.
Yeah.
For the first time ever in the correct key, because I know the keys at the top of my head for a song. Somebody will play or will hum a note, and then I'll be like, that's a C sharp, and then they'll play a C sharp, and then they'll align it, and they'll be like, yeah, that was a C sharp. That's insane. But the point being, I've never really been a heavy instrumentalist.
Yeah.
I can play some piano.
Of course, you post your songs everywhere for everyone to see, and you have a YouTube channel with a bunch of music videos and whatnot, but then you also do live streams every now and then where you're producing music or writing. How on earth do you work so damn fast? You seem to release a song like, what, every month? More than that?
Yeah, I've been much slower now because I'm working on the mainstream side of things.
Yeah.
But for like the last 5 years, I've been releasing video game song after video game song. And when I'm given a theme, like, okay, write this song about Five Nights at Freddy's, that's my basis. And I write the song about that thing because it's literally right in front of me. That's the mission.
Yeah.
And then I do my research, and I've always had a harder time about writing about myself, because I feel like I've always needed to learn more about myself to be able to write better songs about my life. And what usually is dominating the charts is songs about people, and it's relatable.
Yeah.
So I need to be more relatable now. But with the video game stuff, it's like that basis was in front of me. So if I know that I'm going to make a song about Among Us, I'm going to make a song about Among Us, and I'm going to give it all I've got to make it the best that I can, because I know that it's going to do well, but I want them to be impressed. Like, I don't want them just to stick around because the Among Us label is on the piece of content. I want them to stick around because it's a good song.
Yeah.
So I bring them in with the Among Us, then they stay for the song and they listen to the song more.
Yeah.
That's what happened with I See a Dreamer. That song's at almost 50 million streams for a reason at this point. It's got a lot of replay value. Replay value is the key to making it in the music industry, which is a very general term for what I've done for a while, because I'm very much under the music YouTuber category, YouTuber musician, which I actually appreciate that image at this point in time. But I know that there's so much more I could be doing with my music, so much more I could pursue and achieve. With the recent Shorts success and TikTok stuff, I'm really looking into mainstream music right now, where I write about myself, and I have a lot of songs that I've basically cryogenically froze until this point. About me, about circumstances that other people can relate to. Now I'm finally coming out with these songs, and I've just drawn a lot of inspiration from the past, obviously.
So even though you said you appreciate the label of YouTuber musician, like you said, are you then trying to break out of that a bit, or you're still fine being in that YouTube sphere?
I'm trying to break out of it because I appreciate it, especially when I get to do things like go to conventions and stuff because of my YouTuber label, and I get to meet the fans that came from the YouTube side, which I appreciate all the time, because I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for the people that the following I've gained from YouTube. But I'd like to make it into the industry more, into the music industry. The SZAs, the Miley Cyruses, the Harry Styles. I'd like to be in their boat. I'd like to get really cool collaborations, like to be able to make my way up the ladder and keep on working hard. And there are things that are happening in the background that wouldn't be possible without the support of millions and millions of people that have listened to my music thus far. I couldn't be here without YouTube, and now I'm going to take it to greater heights.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. When you talk about collaborations, what would be your dream collab? Anyone in the world?
Dream collaboration. My mind goes straight to AJR. They are somebody that I feel like I could get at some point in time, because their music is very eccentric, and they kind of fall under a similar community to mine. I guess it's not a dream collaboration, but it's something that I definitely want to happen. But if we're saying dream collaboration, I mean, like, it's a tough one because there's always so many new musicians making their way up. I guess The Weeknd. Right? I mean, that would be
obvious
great,
pick.
wouldn't it? I think I'm going to be on call with their management tomorrow. Just kidding. His sound is very Michael Jackson meets current pop and R&B. I mean, and rap music. He can be put into many different categories of music at this point. Like a lot of pop music nowadays also is kind of branching out, and there are so many different categories that it could be put into, and not just the pop label, because pop is so big and so different. Like, there's so many types of pop music that you can't really just categorize it as one thing. If it becomes popular, that's when it's pop. But then there's the sound of pop that you combine with your music, that you're like your fusions of genres, and then you want it to appeal to certain people. You kind of have it with the pop mindset. But then there are songs that are maybe a little bit eccentric, like Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, that
Yeah.
has made its way into pop, but is not in the least bit pop
Yeah.
at all. There's a difference between pop music and popular
And popular music.
like it's a weird thing, because there's the mindset and then there's not, and
Yeah.
it just kind of happens
Yeah, I get what you mean.
to get popular.
So you're trying to kind of branch out to that, and you said like about writing about yourself. How do you pick what you write about? Because you write a lot about video games and pop culture and memes and shows and like the Dream SMP, for example, and just a bunch of different things. How do you choose? Is it just stuff that you're interested in, or is it stuff that's popular, or both? Or
It's stuff that's popular. Like the Dream SMP was huge for about a year and a half, had its day in the sun, and I was there to leech and
naturally.
make music about it.
Yeah.
How have I picked? Because of because those things are popular.
Right.
And I have to get onto that trend right away. Of course, there have been points where I've missed it entirely, but only because I was on break.
Yeah.
The Ohio thing, that was a really ridiculous thing that happened. I'm glad that I released that song last year, not like the first song of this year.
Yeah.
That would have been a little bit embarrassing. But the hate on TikTok is funny.
Yeah.
Because there are people on there right now that have pretended that they were my fans before only in Ohio. And they say 2017 to 2018 CG5 was peak.
Yeah.
And most of these people are not even following me on TikTok that make these claims.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of aimlessly hating. They're hating on that one because the meme was quote unquote dead. And at that point, people were still using it. I went off on a tangent there. But the point is, I've made songs on trends because I know that they're going to do well, but I need to make sure that they stick around.
Yeah.
And so I impress them with the music.
Is that kind of how you work so fast as well? Because you kind of feel like you need to push it out while it's still relevant?
Yes, it has been because of that.
Yeah, I feel that.
When I worked on the song Show Yourself, my first song about Among Us, I knew that was going to be huge. I didn't know it was going to be as big as it is, but I knew it was going to do well. I made the song in like 8 hours.
Damn.
I really liked that song. I really like it. I remember listening back to it when I was finished, I kind of teared up a bit. I whenever I cry at a song, if it's finished, that means it's ready to go. That means it's done. And I've done that quite a few times. Those are genuine moments for me. So I'm very passionate about my music. Despite making songs about trends, like I'm passionate about the songs that I make.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about the styles that I choose to make the songs with. The way I write the songs as well has always been very universal or general. Like I've never been like,
Freddy's gonna come get you.
or like I'm Steve from Minecraft in my lyrics.
Yeah.
I don't want to alienate the people that have no idea what Minecraft is, or Five Nights at Freddy's, or have never touched the games, and only know it through their 8-year-old son. They can just listen to the song.
It's more subtle than that. I've noticed that. You could apply it to more things than just what you originally based it on.
Exactly. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
That's what I went for. I'm actually working on you say that I've worked very fast, and that is true. Lately, I have definitely gone a little bit slower with stuff because I've tried to like sit on it for a little bit or take a lot of breaks in between because I need them. I feel like I've gotten to a point where I'm not jaded by all this music or anything, but I can work a little bit slower than I have been so that I can sit on pieces. I feel like I have that luxury at this point. So I can sit on pieces and be like, okay, this could be better. So I have the ability to make things relatively quick, but I also am developing the ability to stop and think about it. With Lonely King, I didn't expect that song to take me as long as it did. I expected that I would be finishing with that song in 2 months. But I was going through a lot of like exhaustion, burnout for like a lot of last year, wondering where my channel was going to go next. I was concerned about its growth. and I knew that I had to keep on doing the things that people were going to watch about the video game stuff. And I was getting kind of tired. So I was working on Lonely King a lot slower. But in turn, I was able to sit on things for a while. Sit on the Lonely King song for a while and basically write it in my mind over time. In the shower, I'm like, oh, this melody would be great here. I didn't even think of that when I was working on it. Like the next song that I'm coming out with. And I have a lot of songs like this too, though. This one I sat on for like 2 years before I'm finally releasing it in like 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks. It's a big deal to me to be able to release pieces that have been worked on for that long.
Your most recent song, Forget, out now everywhere, has a great music video and a great story and all of that. Did that take also like that long to make? Was that one of those pieces that took you forever?
That song, probably consecutively took me like maybe 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
I began the production with Living Tombstone on it, finished the writing with Oreo, finished producing it. I was holding on to it because I didn't know when I was going to release that song. But I did have the animation team work on the song for like a year. The longest timeline that I've ever given a project was a year. This particular video, I knew I wasn't going to make the money back on it. I had the means to be able to pay for it though. That's why I'm grateful now, is that like I can pursue things that I couldn't at the beginning of my career now. I can, because of the funds that I have to be able to invest in projects. And so with Forget, that was an investment for sure. But when it came out, it was a really big deal to me because of how long that one's been worked on. And Forget is one of those pieces that it was about me. And like I said, I don't really sing about myself all the time, but when I do, it's very personal. It's very important when I'm sharing that message. I think it's going to get to a point now where it's like, okay, I'm writing another mainstream song, writing about myself. It makes sense to not feel the same way I was feeling as when I started writing about myself more. But it's still going to be genuine. All the pieces that I'm writing forthcoming are going to be about genuine experiences. Maybe they're not exactly about my love life or anything like that. I do have some love songs that I'm writing. I've always had a hard time with love, but I can still write those songs. You don't have to be in love to write a love song. Yeah, I'm working on that. I'm working on writing more stuff about myself to see how comfortable I can be with that. And that takes a little slower. The project itself, when I was talking about it with, having the first meeting about it with the animation team, I had the concept 10 minutes before it started. Like I was basically like, I had a due date, and I had to meet the due date, and the due date was the meeting. Yeah. Like, it's like I had homework, but I didn't do it until the last minute. And the concept that I came up with for the video, just like, it all came to me at once with the orb and the character. And that was about a personal experience of mine. The video was especially about that. And then the song itself was about the afterthoughts and the anxiety of everything that I went through there. So do you think you connect more to the songs when you write them about yourself rather than about something that's popular or video games or whatever? Absolutely. Yeah. I really like one of my favorite songs I've ever made. Whenever anybody asks what my favorite song is that I've ever made, usually chalked it up to what song I'm most proud of in terms of production and writing and everything. Like my song Superstar, I See a Dreamer. Those are video game songs, but I really like my song Freak Out, which is more underrated and it's older. That one is important to me. That one came a little easier to me. But at the same time, I took like 7 pages of notes about myself, and that was a very vulnerable thing for me to do. It was very difficult to get my thoughts together. But the song, as soon as I was in writing mode, after all the notes that I had taken, it was like I didn't even need those 7 pages of notes. I'm always doing my best to write differently, and the favorites that I'm starting to pick more are the ones that aren't about video games so much anymore. Although I do have a very intimate connection with those songs, it's a little bit different. I also want to throw out there a really underrated, one of my favorite songs of yours is Improvising, because I love Ratchet and Clank,
And I thought that was a great song, and I think it's really underrated. And I wanted to give it a shout out, and people that are watching this have to listen to it. It's great.
That was one of those rare moments where I knew that that game wasn't trending per se. That game was popular. It was doing well when it was being played and everything. The new Ratchet and Clank, and it's a really amazing game.
Yeah.
It didn't have very much relevancy in the music world, like the indie games do. And I was just kind of making it because I really liked that game.
Yeah.
Like I loved it so much that I was just putting my heart and soul into that piece. And I really wanted to write my first rock song. So,
Yeah.
or one of my first at least, still like pop rock, but it was just like the instruments were hard guitar and real drums, and I wanted to give it a shot.
I think it's really underrated. I love that song and I love that game. So we're sort of wrapping things up here, and I wanted to ask you, what does CG5 even mean?
Charles Green the Fifth. I am the fifth. I'm the fifth generation in my family of Charles Green, and so it's a generational name, and it definitely goes with everything that I am in the music world.
Before we close it off, what is next for CG5?
The Mario song, a song about the new Mario movie, and then the song that I've been promoting for the last month, I think, is coming out in a week and a half from now. That one's more mainstream. That one's not about games. I'm basically making my way out of video game songs because I know that it's been awesome. I've appreciated the growth, and like I said already, the reason that I'm even talking to you right now is because of that, because of the gaming content, the game music that I've made. But now it's time for me to mature with the music world, with my fans that are getting older, and that I need to impress once again with more mature themes like relatability and the things that are dominating the charts for a reason. I'm going to dominate the world.
Yeah, world
with CG5
conquering.
music.
The CG5 Empire.
Yes, I am an umpire, the CG5 umpire.
That's all the questions I have today, except we do this thing at the end of each episode. If you have someone to nominate that you want to be on the show, 3, 2, 1.
I nominate Karsten Beltz, the saxophone player, and
Awesome.
Ducko.
Cool.
And DeHusta.
If any of you are watching, you now you're obligated to. Thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it a lot. Go check out CG5 in general and all the good stuff that we talked about today. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Thanks for having me, Eli.
Of course. Thanks for being here.